Hi everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching, and today I just wanted to do a short video about the sewing machine that I bought 2 years ago, now that I've used it a good bit. And my son and I were talking about it, and he said, well, go ahead and tell the things that you like about it. And before this I had a Janome, and it was an 8900. And for 6 years, I just quilted and quilted and quilted, and it just kept running. Well, it still runs, but I was ready for a little change, and so I went to a Janome, and this is the Memory Craft 9450. And it, like any car, it took a little while for a new car. It took me a while to get used to the machine, and now I can pretty much interchange myself between the two machines, because one I use for a lot of piecing, and then I do a lot of quilting on the second machine. And one of the first things I'm going to show you before it changes on me is over here on the screen. There's a great computer screen. It's a little hard for you to see with this light, but one of the things that I really like is that if you stop stitching, sewing, whatever you're working on, you say you've got a quilt, you're quilting, and you've got a pattern that you're using. Well, when you open up the sewing machine for the day, it says resume the last pattern. And at first I really didn't worry about that. I just started and went, but lately I've really gotten used to saying okay, because then I was ready to start, especially if I had left the right foot on the machine. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about this machine too, some of these will be sort of mixed up, is the bobbin winder. And what's so nice about it is that the better you get, better stitches, the more compact your thread is through your bobbin winder. And this one really does a great job, and it's just like all the others, except the thread sits here sideways and comes out from the bottom, and there's a gold bar right here, compartment divider, and you go up around it, and then you've got it just like normal. Come over here and load your spool on here. And once you start to go, it just fills up and fills up. And you say, is it ever going to get it? But it does. And what I really noticed is when I start quilting, free motion quilting, a bobbin will go a long way. So that is, and so now pretty much when I'm even using my other sewing machine for piecing, I'll come in here and run my bobbins because it'll last a long time. The other thing that I like too, and it is the sound that the machine will make as the bobbin starts to get empty down near the bottom. Now the Janome 9450 seems to do it about 3 times. And so I've learned, you sort of unconsciously count it, because when I hear it the first time, I know there's a good bit of thread left on there, so I can keep going. Then I can hear the next one. Well, if I move the quilt off for some reason, I can just look at the bobbin and see what's there. But that's a good way to know that you're going to run out of thread depending on your pattern. This one also has an extra light on it. It's got the light at the bottom, a light over your needle, but then over here on the side you can pull this out, and that gives it, especially when you're doing some close work and some fine stitching that you want to make sure that you see it, or if the light goes in your wherever you're working at, you don't have enough light. So that was a nice thing. The screen, back to the computer screen for a minute, is really nice. I'll take and say, okay, I'm going to keep my pattern on here. Well, when I first turn it on, I shut it off for a minute, and when I turn it back on, it comes up, and it comes up with a utility screen at the front. And it tells you, you can choose to have your needle up, needle down, especially in this utility. And it shows you the stitches. And this is really nice because there are going to be times when you have a pattern and you want to see where you are. And you can tell because there's a little mark in it. And then it tells you the foot to use with this screen, this utility screen. And it shows you some of the things that you can do. All right. It also down at the bottom, you can set your stitches. You can open that part up. And it'll also tell you some other things that you can adjust for this pattern. And then if you don't like what you did, you can just, it goes back to the auto if you push one of the buttons down at the bottom. And we'll make it go up again. Now my thing is to go to my quilting, but I'll just show you there's a couple of, this went straight to quilting this time. Okay, this is funny because you can also get to quilting by going up to this little shirt, and I'm going to do that because that's what I've been used to. And it says, well, what do you want to do? You want to seam, you want to over, and the things that you can do with the one that you have, the foot or rollers, rolling hem and gathering. But I can also go to, I can go to quilting and go to patchwork and basting. I can go to quilting, so I like to go there. When I get on this one, I can go to free quilting. It tells me to lower the feed dog. That's the other thing about it. It's an extra brain to help you get where you want to go. So I'm going to lower my feed dog, which is on the side, just like normal. When it opens up the free quilting, it tells me the foot that I need to be using if I'm on this screen. And what's neat about it is if I decide, this is if you have a regular height quilt, you know, it's sort of medium. But if your quilts tend to be thinner, then you go to part 2, the next one, which is 2, and it gives you a different foot that you add on. And that's, I've learned to use this one. I like it a lot. All right, and then there's not as many choices of things to do. So I'm going to come out of there. And so many things you can save. And one of the things that I like to do is ruler work. So when I go back, I can do my free quilting, and well, I can't get to it right now. I'm going to have to work on that one, but I always can get it when I'm doing my quilting. So this is, the screen is great. And all the stitches, if you look up here on the cover, the lift up cover, you can see all of these things that you can do when you get used to it. And in 2 years, I haven't quite mastered that. And the other thing I was going to share today was the threading. At first, it's kind of seems cumbersome, but it's not. Like I said before, the machine loads the thread, and the thread comes out towards you from the bottom, goes over here, and there's that partition we had. It goes around there, and everything's numbered. And then you go down, and you go around 3, you come up, and you hook through the top piece and go down. Number 5, you come down, there's a silver piece, and that guides you down to the little hook over the needle. All right, once you get there, that's 5, 6. Over here is 7. You take your thread and you slide it over to the side, just gently. You just set it over there. And the one thing that I do know is that if you make sure that your needle is in the up position, I can do it with my wheel, or I can do it with up down on here. And once you get that, over here on the side is a little handle, and it's going to go down, and you're going to push it down and then let it go, and then it'll catch. So let me see if I can get it by doing it how I usually do it. Sometimes it gets tight in there, so then you can just pull it back, slide it down. There it goes. All right, and then when I let go, I can see that it's going into my needle. So this one I had it long thread, so I'm going to pull that piece off. And there's a little hook right behind the needle up high, and if you finesse that, it slides right off there and you're ready to go. And it took me conscientious effort to do that, but now I can quickly do it, and usually I can get it to do when I'm working on it. And this has just been a lot of fun. I know that was short, but maybe it'll give you some ideas of some of the things that you can get on the machines at this time. Thank you for watching.